Okie dokie. Hello and welcome. I'm Zilla, and this is my Athenaeum. And today we're going to be playing some ancient gaming. So this is a series where I play video games and talk about their ancient studies content. Today we are starting one of my favorite games, The Cave. This is a DoubleFine game, so it's a point and click, it's very creative and silly, and it actually has a lot to tell us about the way that we look at history. If you're here in chat, please feel free to say hello. I look forward to making this work. This is recording from my computer, which has historically been a little bit tricky, so if there's any problem with hearing the game, with hearing me, with the audio balance, anything like that, please let me know. And I will get going.
Welcome. Don't let my sultry and mysterious voice startle you. For hundreds, nay thousands, nay tens of thousands of years, people have come to me in search of what they desire most. Few find what they are looking for. Even fewer ever leave. Welcome to The Cave. That's me, The Cave. Yes, I'm a talking cave. Don't laugh. It makes dating hell. Besides, I have a really interesting story to tell you this evening, so pay attention. It's a story of 7 people and a glimpse into a dark place in each of their hearts. But be careful before you judge. There is a dark place in your heart as well. Someday you will find yourself descending my depths in search of what you desire. And you might not like what you find either. But enough about you. This is about them.
So, here we have our character selector, and we actually get to choose 3 characters at a time to descend into the cave. We have the knight, the hillbilly. Come on, show me the next one.
The time traveler. She is here to right a wrong 1,000,000 years in the making. Fortunately for her, yesterday is a new day.
I don't know why that's not all showing up. So we have the time traveler, we have the scientist, we have the adventurer.
The adventurer. She is hot on the trail of her lost companions and unequaled ancient treasure, but not necessarily in that order.
We've got the creepy twins, and we've got the monk. Now, have y'all been able to hear the narration? Let me know in chat. I know you can see it, which is good, but I want to make sure that you can actually hear the game too. Okay, now all of the time traveler's text shows up. Okay, narration is good, levels are good, excellent, good to know, so...
The monk. He seeks his master so he can become the master. It's a journey filled with peace and enlightenment. And murder. I'm sorry.
Well, let's just... Oh gosh, is the cave also an ancient alien? I mean, I've never heard of an alien piece of Earth, but I guess there's no telling whether this is on Earth.
The twins. They just want to go outside and play. What could be more innocent than that? The scientist. She is on the cusp of a great discovery for all of humankind, and 100,000,000 lives hang in the balance. The hillbilly. On this fine night, he searches for his true love, but does desire burn too brightly in his heart?
Yeah, that one's a little bit...
The knight. He is on a quest for a sword of unequaled power and prestige. But will he find it before anyone else gets hurt?
Okay, so let's start off with the adventurer. have arrow controls. What else have we got? Let's check the controls because... Nope. That's not what I want to do. Okay, so that's one of the interact buttons. Okay, help and options, how to play. So, can move. Oh, it expects us to have a mouse with a right-click button, which I do not presently have. Fun fact. Let's see if we can change those settings. Okay, so C and E are our interact buttons. And we can change characters with our number buttons. And then Q is special things. Thank you. I will also need the connector though. So, I've been helpfully brought a mouse, but unfortunately it does not connect to my schmancy computer by itself. Because, of course, Apple just cannot be arsed to be compatible with anything. Alright, technical difficulties should resolve in 3, 2, 1. How's that? Okay. Yep, okay, so now I can jump, which I could not do before. So, let's see. Oh, we've got a crowbar, which we can pick up. Goodbye, shoddy barricade. I won't miss you. So we have some gravestones here. And we can actually see down into the earth, since we're in this ominous third-person perspective. I was going to say omniscient, which is not quite true, but ominous certainly is with this game. So let's talk a bit about gravestones and grave markers. So what we have here are a very simple representation of grave markers. They actually appear to be made out of wood, just 2 planks of wood nailed together and set in a cross fashion. Now, you might notice that even though this is like kind of standard in Western culture for generic person died here, this is actually a very Christian thing to do, right? A very, oh, somebody died here, we'll put a symbol of a religion on top of them. Not every religion does this, and even though this is one of the more common things you'll see in a video game to mark the location of a burial or a death, it's not actually all that universal. I was actually playing some Plants vs. Zombies, if any of y'all are old enough to remember that game. And, you know, they have a ton of gravestones in there, and they have all kinds of gravestones. And there are like 3 different types out of the 5 or 6 different options that have crosses specifically on them. It's very interesting how much that assumption is just sort of baked into our image of a gravesite. And since we can actually see down into these graves, we can see these skeletons. We see 5 dead people and 4 little grave markers. Yep, only 4 grave markers. No, there's one over here. So we've got people not buried in individual graves, but actually a mass burial here. And of course, in the real world, we never have a slice like this, right? It's always going to be, if you can get an image of what's happening beneath the earth, it's going to be LiDAR or something like that, where you essentially radar, but for the ground. Or you dig them out and uncover them, but you are never going to see these spaces in the dirt like that, not unless there was something around them that decayed after the ground was solidified in some way. So this looks to be fairly soft dirt. There's no way there would be this much space around the bones. So whatever happened here, whyever they were buried here, they were buried all in a lump, with the grave markers just scattered about at random instead of in individual graves, which is very unusual for somebody who would go to the trouble of actually making grave markers unless they were in a hurry. The way we treat our dead is something that is very culturally important to us, and it has always been important to peoples across the world. It is in modern Egyptology, for example, there is a huge concern about how to treat a mummy, because that is a human remain. That's not just an artifact. That's somebody's body that was preserved by people who loved them. So we need to treat human remains with the respect due to anyone who has died. And we can't just be, parading around being like, oh, I'm gonna take a picture in this museum with some human skull for clicks. I might be referring to some particular anti-indigenous scholarship. Anyway. So, aren't there some unique cultures who are only known today due to their unique burial practices, says DJ Trundlebot, and that is certainly the case. We can tell a lot about how people lived and what they valued based on how they bury their dead. And there's just so many different examples of this. Like the first example that comes to mind for me is, honestly, this is not an example where we have no other evidence, but I'm thinking of the Tholos tombs in Greece. These Bronze Age burials in what we call a beehive tomb, because it's kind of shaped like a beehive, and it's just an incredible thing. We have so little data left over from the time period that those were made, partially due to poor scholarship on the part of certain Victorian-era archaeologists who shall not be named. Maybe it's Heinrich Schliemann, because it's always Heinrich Schliemann, because I hate Heinrich Schliemann, okay? But also just, it's hard to tell what that's associated with. Now, there are probably scholars out there who are hearing me say, I don't know much about the Tholos tombs and the society they went with, and being like, oh, come on, we know tons about the Mycenaeans and similar things, and we do, but, when we first encountered these Tholos tombs, we didn't. And it's not my specialty, so I don't want to dive too far into it, but, when you can see that somebody has been buried in this special kind of way, you can see that their culture honored them, thought it was important to spend resources on them. We also have, mummies. We think of mummies, we think of them as Egyptian things, but that's not the only society in the world that ever mummified particularly important bodies. There's a whole book, a whole storyline, I should say, within the Sandman comics. One of my favorites that is about the sort of the grand necropolis where you learn the burial practices of everywhere that has ever been. And they talk about air burials, where, you know, a person has, it's respectful to lay a person out such that their body will decompose and then their bones will be left. Or sometimes not even their bones will be left, depending on the place. And they're just all of these very defined relations between us and our dead that vary so dramatically, but the one thing they always have in common is respect. The discarding of human remains is something that will shake us to our core even now. In this slightly more televised and therefore overwhelming and therefore sort of callous-inducing age, you know, we have this relationship with the idea of dead bodies, dead human corpses, that images of mass graves being dug for COVID victims at the beginning of the pandemic were horrifying to us. And not without reason. We were overwhelmed. We were overwhelmed with the dead and couldn't take the time to treat them properly. And that is horrifying. And it feels disrespectful to the dead, to their living survivors. And sometimes that's what happens. So when some bodies are found in a mass grave like this, in a jumble, like we see on the screen right now, that tells us something about the tone of what we're looking at, right? This was either very quickly done or very slapdash. Oh, these ones are just open, like they've been dug back up. Okay, gotta get used to these controls. Seriously, danger, keep out. Okay, we've got something here. Okay, so we can push this box, but I don't yet know why. Now, I have played this game, but it has been a very long time, so I don't remember everything. Oops. Graves are also some of the reasons that we might know a grave from a civilization that we otherwise don't have much from, is because graves are built to last most of the time. They're markers, they're memorials, they're time capsules. And sometimes, and to return to Egyptology, sometimes you find a culture that believes in an afterlife so strongly that the bodies of the dead are buried with things that they might need. And that's not just Egypt, right? That's also some of the cultures of China, where you find, you know, the terracotta warriors, you know, the monumental pieces.
Whoop, you break it, you buy it. Just saying. I don't think that bridge has been safety tested with more than 2 people.
So here we get one of our mechanics, which is that we have to have 3 folks. So let's get down here with a knight. That should be fun.
Careful. If that bridge breaks, there might be no way back up. And by if, I mean when that bridge breaks. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, so I had initially thought about maybe playing the monk instead of the knight, but I think the knight's actually going to give us some interesting contrast about different periods of the past, whereas the monk, it's not really a past thing, it's more of a cultures across the world, and I'm no longer confident that I really want to get into that with this game, having remembered exactly how the hillbilly is portrayed. So, let's go with the time traveler for our third character. I do love the time traveler. She's just got these little boots that let her hover everywhere. And you know, kind of why wouldn't you? Does mean our movement options with her are a little bit interesting. Employees only door. We're not employees. Oops, that's not the button. Okay. Let's see what we got over here. Hey, we got souvenirs. So what's on the postcard display? I've got a postcard.
Oh, I hope you're not here to visit the cave, because we're closed. A gruesome and horrific accident has occurred, and there's no way we can open. No way. I shudder to even describe to you what has transpired. For the nightmares will forever haunt your every thought.
Well, if you insist.
When I came in, we had no trinkets to sell in the gift shop.
A very classic DoubleFine sort of character design. But it's kind of funny. This guy is here. So, we'll have to give him some trinkets.
Oh, the humanity. I'll never be the same. Some things you can't unsee. What am I gonna do now?
Sell me this postcard. Alright, fine. If you're not gonna sell me the postcard,
You know, there is a way I could reopen, allowing you fine adventurers to partake in the unique experience that only the cave has to offer. I just need 3 small trinkets to sell. Just 3. Let me say that number again. 3. Take this giant novelty-sized key. It's cute, isn't it? Open the employee's back entrance. I'm sure you'll find some treasures worthy of the cave's gift shop.
So, I get the impression that everything in the cave, other than the people you bring in, is part of the cave, including that guy.
He is a funny little man, isn't he? I should probably fire him. I think he's dipping into the till.
So here's some interesting stuff stuck in the wall, right? So first of all, we have these carved stones I think are also meant to feel like grave markers. And on the sides we have Hebrew lettering. I have no idea if it actually says anything. My Hebrew is not that good anymore. I need spaces, and honestly, at this point, I need vowels. But if anybody wants to figure out what the heck it thinks it's saying, I mean, it could be something. It starts with a ha, which, I mean, that's just the definite article. Maybe it could be, unless it's not ha, but like he or something. I don't know. I don't know what. That could be... Well, that's not a memsophete, so it's not the end of the word there. Or a memsophete, a pesophete. So, like, it does end with a final letter. Maybe it's actually a word. Maybe it's actually several words. I don't know. But it's very interesting to see that here. And one thing to note, if you're going to have Hebrew lettering, then of course you're going to expect sort of Jewish-aligned types of decoration, and here you have a non-figurative carving, something that is decorative without showing a face. Now, in the older Jewish tradition, as in the older Islamic tradition, it's actually not allowed to depict faces, because that is a form of idolatry, more or less. That's the short way of explaining it. It's not that evil, it's just sort of like, you don't want to do that lest somebody turn from reality towards the images in a sort of like spiritual fashion. Of course, you also have in here the this little phone box, this little red phone box. I like to think that this is a nod to the TARDIS, because that is absolutely the kind of story we're getting into here, in the sense of fantastical, nonsensical, and, you know, things just happening oddly. Not in the sense of everything's going to go well, because it is not. Learn how to use these navigation tools. This cute little bat, like, very obvious animation now, but it's good enough for what it does. And then we have this very Stonehenge-looking thing, so, one thing you may or may not know about Stonehenge is that the henge actually refers to the ditch around the monumental stones. The stones themselves are... they can be quite varied in different henges and such. This is built to resemble Stonehenge. That's for our benefit, right? That's to signal to us that people from all these different time periods, all these places around the world, so modern England with that phone booth and, you know, sort of medieval-looking stuff with the crosses and the Jewish architecture, but different parts of the world, the Levant versus Western Europe. And then here we have, you know, not modern Britain, but as ancient as you can get Britain. As ancient as we know about. Okay, so once you get far enough, your other two options will come up behind you. And I just kind of want to look down at this statue right here. I don't know if we'll get a better view of it as we proceed down the ladder. Let's see. Not really. Well, I guess I can just come up here. So, from what little we can see at a time, this appears to be some kind of carved animal, like a dragon head maybe. It's got an eye here and a horn and some pointy teeth down in the center. Let's see if I can... It's kind of hard to say, but it is somewhat Central or South American looking, right? Like it's giving that hint of maybe a Mayan style architecture. So we continue to get these very different things. I can't quite get over there, but what about over here? Hey, look, a lever. Well, looks like we need more than one person to operate this lever. Or maybe we need to go somewhere else to operate a different lever. Oh yeah, that was it. Now our time traveler can hop on through. So here we have, we've got our spike trap for people to die in. And of course we could die there. That's a thing we could do. These are very clearly animal bones, right? Like we have much larger than the human bones we've been looking at. And also this kind of nonsense skull, it's very cartoony, but like it was clearly some kind of beastie. Sharp, pointy teeth. So we've got a bell. We've got a spike pit. And we have some kind of beastie. Oh.
There's no dying in the cave. At least not this soon. So much left for them to learn.
I do love that about this game. So what happens when... Oops.
You know, the truth is, I can't let anyone die in here because of what it would do to my insurance rates. Okay, I think they're just dying for fun now.
Yes, I was. I was, in fact, just dying for fun. So I wanted you to see the critter. So let's float on up here. Let's see what is going on. Nothing in that old well. Fuse box, levers and such. Hey, grabbed some bones out of the pit. It's just a nice touch, isn't it? I wonder what happens if we try to...
Apparently, I'm the only one down here who doesn't want anyone to die.
Yes, you are. Alright, so I have some ideas. So I think... Haha! I was right. So we've found ourselves a little time traveler memory kit here. So the year is 2701. We have our very typical cartoony flying city full of flying cars and taxi cabs and mopeds and whatever. So this is the world that the time traveler comes from. Okay. So, back to here. When we ring the bell, our critter gets awakened, but we're not close enough to get the blast. So let's... I think... Yeah, that's how that works. Right, well, that looks like it belongs to the knight. Can I take that handle? So, I believe if we bring out the doggo. Nope, I missed. How do we get this bad boy out here? Hey, look, a hot dog machine.
Oh.
New grog? Ooh, that looks like we could use the crowbar on it. So, maybe I should go get it eventually. Maybe I should get it right now. Everybody loves a crowbar. Such an innocuous thing to want, right? Remember, folks, keep your crowbar in your car. It's handy. Please pick up a crowbar. Note, you cannot swim in the kind of armor that this guy is wearing. Not even a little bit. You would just sink. Come on. Okay. Fine, fine. Let's go see what's happening. First, let's see what's happening in the knight's past. So, our knight started out as a peasant boy picking radishes when a knight in shining armor and a fancy armored horse had a heart attack on the road, it looks like. Just gonna guess. So we have this very sort of stereotypical medieval peasant thing going on. Kid wants to be a knight because farming on the land sucks so bad. Now this is not my area of expertise, not one little bit. But I was listening to Adam over at Ludo History talk about some similar things not that long ago. If you don't watch Ludo History, if you like my stuff, you'll love his. So, you know, the idea that everybody wanted to be a knight, not necessarily terribly realistic, but you can imagine wanting to go from some kind of poverty to the kind of wealth that would give you leave to, own a horse. The word chivalry comes from chevalier, cheval, horse. It's the rules for when you have a horse and the other person doesn't, because you have all the power in that scenario. A horse can trample a person. And, what are they gonna do? Sue you? Alright, so, whoops, that's not the button. Okay, I wanted to try prying this off the old well. Yeah! Alright. Very cool. So we can probably get that other one now. Now, if I recall correctly, the knight's thing is invulnerability. Nope. Apparently,
Like I said,
kind of
there's no
stays.
dying in the cave.
Alright. So, let's put down the crowbar in favor of this rusty crank. That happened way too fast.
Sorry,
For me.
I wasn't laughing at them. I just remembered something funny.
I mean, I was. Okay. I'll try again to see if it'll work, but yeah, there we go. Fascinating.
I'm not going to say anything more about dying. I think it just encourages them.
Well. Alright. Mister, I have a rusty crank. Let's go get ourselves a bucket. Oops, that's not the right way. Kablooey! So where's the bucket? Oh, there's the bucket. It's kind of funny that that's listed as the old well, right? How old is anything in here versus how old is everything? Okay, so now we need this fuse. I think I remember how this works. And also, how does a knight know how to use a fuse? Get ourselves a hot dog. You would eat a vending machine hot dog out of the cave that's been there for untold ages, right? Yeah, I was right. Okay. Yep. Grog and hot dogs. Who doesn't love a good grog and hot dog binge? Feels like a convention center. Oops. Don't do that. Floaty things only keep you like a couple inches off the ground. You still gotta jump. Here we go. So, ring the bell. Press no more spiky. Give me that crowbar. That's useful. This is definitely how everything works, right? Oh hey, it's a memory for our adventurer. A team of artifact hunters. You know they're artifact hunters because they look like they're ripped right out of Indiana Jones. Peering at this diamond and sweating over it in their fancy hats and Amelia Earhart goggles and ascot thing with a eagle tattoo? That's kind of worrying. So we really are getting like the Indiana Jones style adventurer, archaeologist sort of thing going here. But honestly, a lot more truthfully to what people doing what Indiana Jones does in the movies. They're looters. They're looters. And I want you to notice that, you know, the knight's symbol was a sword in a stone kind of thing, like almost like those grave markers. Very cross-like, very much, you know, this image of knighthood as a holy Christian thing in a way that isn't terribly historical, but definitely involves a lot about how they're romanticized and how people think about them. And we've already got this hint that maybe he's not exactly what he seems. And with the adventurer, we have this very, like, Indiana Jones premise. This is, you know, adventure style. And her symbol is an ankh, the Egyptian symbol for eternal life. But maybe not because she should have anything to do with that. Alright, so here we start to get into a new section. We can tell because our other adventurers have caught up with us. But we can see some other artifacts in the background here. We've got basically what looks like a flying saucer. Who knows? So maybe this isn't just for humans from this world. Maybe this is, after all, an ancient alien remnant of some kind. ... Yes, thank you, DJ Trundlebot. Ancient aliens, all caps. I'm imagining you with the hair. Yes. You know the guy. Just go watch Emma Thorne. One of her recent videos is all about that. We have what appears to be the Titanic, or something like it. A big steamship, with some rocky intrusions here in the base, suggesting that it crashed. We've got the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I don't know why that's down there. That's still out there in the real world. And what looks to be an astronaut's capsule, right? Like this setup is, you know, it's one of those landing capsules with the big parachutes that you see in images of the way that astronauts coming back from outer space are often tossed into the sea in these capsules that are then picked up by boats, because this is much easier to get safely through our atmosphere from outside than an entire rocket ship. But we are going to have to go down without an obvious way back here, so onward. Oh, speaking of Amelia Earhart, we have this nice old-fashioned plane here. I think that's meant to look a bit like hers. I did learn recently that, you know, the Wright brothers actually came out with their, you know, famous plane. Oh, they just happened to be able to show it off right before a similar one was going to be shown by a black inventor. Like everything else in American life, it seems. So there's a flame up here. Okay, I can't just pick it up. I'll need something for that. Can't use the pry bar on the rocks. A warning of explosives down here. So we've got a flame and some explosives. Cool, cool, cool. Let's pick up some dynamite. This'll go well. Okay, I'll just stand here with it. Can't die after all. It's the nice thing about spelunking as immortal, Nagudniks? Sure. Die as many times as you need to get the thing done. Rat poison? Oh. Well, let's pick that up. If you don't know, I won't tell you. Okay. Let's have another person go on to the next. Door control console. Alright. Sure, fine. Maybe that means we can get back up this way. What's all this? A jeweled skull. Alright. Obviously we're gonna need to take that. Cool. Well, if that's what's up there, what's down here? Meditation statue. Alright. Got some more of those carved gravestones in the back there. Okay. Guess you need to go pick up that rat poison. that. That is going to be one of our 3 souvenirs, or trinkets to sell. If you're wondering why I didn't go into the details of those little setups, it is because those are directly plot related in some way.
Well, that's 1 trinket. A far cry from 3 trinkets. Ah! Trinket numero 2. Maybe I didn't pay attention during math class, but 2 is less than 3.
God, if you've played other DoubleFine games, this animation is just, it's so full of nostalgia. It makes me want to go play Grim Fandango again. Oh, hey, would you guys like me to play Grim Fandango at some point? Here's another one I can play.
Ah! The 3rd glorious trinket! I have to say, you have surprised me. I figured you'd give up after 1.
Okay, let me
Oh, right. Sorry.
What does the old sign have to say? Limited liability waiver for the cave. By entering this cave, the cave, you hereby agree to hold harmless the Cave Inc., its parent company, Amalgamated Aluminum Holdings, and all subsidiaries of the Cave, whether real or fictitious, and any and all injuries, physical, emotional, or spiritual, during the duration of your visit to the cave, and for a minimum of 1 year and a maximum of 5 years upon exiting the cave. The cave is also not responsible for any damage or loss or theft of or to personal items and clothing. You also agree in full to reimburse the cave for any damages you might or might not have caused during your visit. Enjoy your spelunking. Wah, wah, wah. That's not ominous at all.
Well, that was a close one. It does bode well for our intrepid spelunkers that they navigated that maze of intrigue. I have high hopes for this group, much better than the last. I think they may still be down here. I should probably get them out. Nothing scares away the tourist like a rotting corpse.
The narrator says as we stand next to what seems to be the corpse of some kind of animal. Much more realistic with like actual eye and nose holes. But then again, given that spiky dog creature, who knows? Maybe the other one was just one of that. So, with that, I think we're at a good stopping point for the day. I will be missing next week's stream, but I expect to be back after that. And we will continue our playthrough of the cave. I expect to play through the whole of this game, and then I will be taking a summer break of sorts, by which I mean I will be switching over again to the Save Ancient Studies Alliance's Twitch channel for a playthrough of The Forever Labyrinth by Inkle Studios. I know almost nothing about it, have been assured that it will be absolutely right up my alley, and if you would love to come see me play that and talk to experts on things like art history, Archeo gaming, and more, I do want to just leave that here for you. There will be more information about that, of course. So, I will be out next Saturday, but I'll be back after that, and for the month of May, let's play Cave. Alright, have a good day, and keep learning, friends.